All right, everybody, and welcome to the Maestro's Classic NASCAR ARCA Series. I am James Riles by myself tonight. My partner had to take some time off for some schoolwork. We've all been there. But we've got an exciting one for you guys, 130 laps here at Gateway. It should be a fantastic time. Watching Alex Brown, Ed Morris, and the bunch take on this 1.25 mile speedway. Let's go ahead and take a look at our race info for the day, as it is the race 7 at Gateway. Or, I'm sorry, World Wide Technology Park. There we go. Here, it should be a good one. 86 degrees, perfect temperature for some racing, 60-degree humidity. on the 1.25. Little paperclip action there going on. But we'll go ahead and run you guys through the grid. Of course, we've got Alex Brown and Ed Morris up front. Matt Greathouse, followed by Dennis Weeks, Chasten Teets, Mike Franklin in the 6th machine, Jason Brewer in 34, Ray Smith in 8th place, Justin Linke in 9th, Ed Morris Sr. in 10th, and Kevin Franks there in 11th. Robert Colgan going to be rounding out the field in that 94 machine. Go ahead and what do you say? Turn this up and get ready to go racing, ladies and gentlemen. Again, we appreciate you here at Sim Racing Media. Appreciate you guys watching. Wherever you're watching from, YouTube, Facebook, wherever you are, we got you. We appreciate you. Pace car is going to take that dip down here. Not taking. There we go. Boys and girls, it's about time. Let's go racing. Alex Brown going to bring him around for the first time, getting a really good jump here as Ed Morris falling back behind him, trying to lose the battle, possibly getting more one. As we're going to go through, see just where everyone's going to be. This is a super hard track, super hard to try and figure out the flow for it. So I'm excited to see what these guys can do. Jason Brewer back there, Justin Linke. All these guys really have a good chance to win this thing. Heavy hitters showed up, everybody else over the holidays. One of those in between weeks, maybe not going to be able to make it. But if you are watching, you can give those guys some words of encouragement. They're out here running this thing and having a good time. Alex Brown off to a commanding lead, but Ed Morris not letting him too far behind. Jason Brewer, however, back there is having a hard time keeping up. Justin Teets in that inside line there. Out of 4, getting a little bit squirrely. Ooh, we're going to see that a lot tonight, folks. A lot of different turns here. Got to get in a totally different groove here. 1 and 2 out of 3 and 4. So let's see just how that takes place. Alex Brown still in the lead. Ed Morris, your 1-2. Dennis Weeks there. That's 5th, 4th, and 9th. 5th. Kind of get set. That's what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of that as the field. Taking a look at that gorgeous speed machine of Chasten Teets in that Mopar Dodge there. Look at Robert Colgan up 2 positions already in the free agent 94 machine. Looking quick here at a place that's already hard enough to pass, as we're seeing Ray Smith and Justin Linke still where they are. Chasten Teets, however, in the 8 machine. Chasten Teets, clicking matrix there. Chasten Teets down 2 positions. Jason Brewer, always fun to watch. Green camo Chevrolet. Like to see it. As Alex Brown, the resident Canadian, is really getting out front to a huge advantage here. Ed Morris really can't get anything up there. These big long straightaways make it a little bit hard to grab any real advantage, I guess. You're going to have to make those passes on the flat. Let's see what's going on with that. Progressives. Dennis Weeks and Matt Greathouse in 3rd. Val for 3rd. Eating up just a little bit with Mike Franklin behind him. Of course, this is the Maestro's classic ARCA series. shout out. We were off last week for the holiday. Before that, we had Las Vegas. And Ed Morris was actually the one to bring it home to Las Vegas. Ed, one of the first drivers to break into that 2-win column. As it is a tight race here. Ed Morris with 2 wins. Dennis Weeks, who's now sitting in 3rd. He's got 2 wins. 5 top 5s of the 7 starts. 2 wins and 5 top 10s. As well, always the bridesmaid, but never the bride, is Alex Brown. Alex Brown is in third position off podiums alone with 249 points. We'll keep an eye on that, as that's one of our poll questions over on Facebook. Will we have a new winner tonight? Hasn't been a whole lot to go around so far this season. A lot of early winners, which you'll definitely see. So that is active now. Let's take a look at that. Tell us, do you think, can Alexander Brown pull it out for her first win of the season? Or will a driver like Ed Morris, Dennis Weeks, Robert Colgan, another one that has won and not really been able to do much with it. Raul Alves, who was unable to make it tonight. A lot of drivers unable to make it tonight. All day. Stuff going on. Oh, we got a lot of damage on the 7 car. What happened to the 7 car? Let's try and take a look back and see. Is Dennis Weeks going to take advantage of the damaged 7 of Ed Morris? That car is heavily damaged. He hit the wall going quite fast. I'll see if I got anything for it. I don't think I do, folks. I'm gonna have to find this one the old-fashioned way. Or when he got that image. I don't have a clue, folks. He seems to have it fixed now. That was a puzzling issue. But Ed Morris has gathered up. He's getting that thing back to going. That thing, it looks fantastic. I don't know what was going on with iRacing there, but got it lined out, straightened out. Now we go back to Chasten Teets, who is losing, he's gaining his position back from Jason Brewer. Jason Brewer on the outside. That's a bad place to be. He's going to get the advantage with the massive run off of 2. See if that helps him here in the higher banked, tighter turn of 3 and 4. This is where a lot of folks are going to start to lose it, though. That banking definitely tells you got a little bit more grip than you actually do. He is trying to get to the back of Jason Brewer. I don't know if he's going to have anything for him. There he goes, going for the little slide job there. He's not going to have it. That's, folks, you got to complete that pass, as it looks like he has it there. If he's going to get crossed up here into the tighter turns 3 and 4, he is not. So Chasten Teets really trying to take advantage of the speed where he has it. As I think we're just going to be trading punches here with Ray Smith in the background, waiting in the wings. Nothing doing there, but that's a battle we're going to keep an eye on, folks, as Kevin Franks is another one who's got Ed Morris Sr. on his rear end, and these guys better get things pumping, because they got the leaders coming up in a little bit here. So this is Robert Colgan and Kevin Franks battling for 10th position. Guys, again, we do like to see those comments, so let us know who you think is going to take this thing away and who you want to see in the victory lane. Definitely give those guys some more screen time for your troubles. Let's take a look at this. Ed Morris under attack by Dennis Weeks in 3 and 4. I've got to find out what happened with that damage. I've got nothing on my relative. Maybe no incident points made there, but he's recovered for now. Trying to hold off the very fast 97 machine of Dennis Weeks. Now we got Jason Brewer in a little bit of trouble. .34 machine. Falling back, Ray Smith gaining a position. A lot of action everywhere you look, folks. Looks like it's onesies and twosies battles. Alex Brown has stepped it out, however. Alex Brown is gone in the 67 machine. He's got about a 1.5 thick gap back to Ed Morris. Whatever was going on in the front end of that car has put him at a great disadvantage. With Dennis Weeks right there in that autism awareness 97. Ready to make a move if Ed Morris was to have any issues again. Matt Greathouse touching the wall a little bit there. 7th, Jason Brewer falled back. Watched that battle a while ago, but now Ray Smith has his sights set on Chasten Teeth. Let's see if he has anything for him. What do you say we turn it up? All right, folks, we are back. You got a really good up-close view of this battle between Ray Smith, Chasten Teets, and now Mike Franklin. These three cars, you can throw a blanket under them all within a second. Everyone else is pretty much lined up. Alex Brown out in front. He's got a 2-second gap back to Ed Morris, who's trying to keep that car together. Dennis Weeks there in third. Matt Greathouse in fourth. And then so starts the battle. Mike Franklin and Chasten Teets. These guys been trading shots all race. No mute movement. Very hard to pass here. As I'm looking, everybody is pretty much where they started with a one position variance. I mean, let's take a look here as we go through. Dennis Weeks started fourth, now in third. He gave that position up to Matt Greathouse, who started third. Here we got in fifth, Mike Franklin started one position back where Chaston Teets is now. You guessed it, Chaston started this race in fifth, so trying to get that position back. We got Ray Smith and Jason Brewer. These guys swapping positions for seventh. Then Justin Limke's where he started, Kevin Franks and Ed Morris Sr., another group who has swapped positions. Robert Colgan's really slow back there in that 94 machine. He was moving a little bit quicker. Fortunately, not right now. See if anything's going on here. Chaston Teets and Ray Smith. Ray Smith is looking like he's going to be in the position to really take advantage of something if it was to happen. He's already up one position. Now he's looking at of course, I don't know what positions he kept there, but looking at Chaston Teets like he's going to try and dive. Chaston with the block. Goes lower than Ray Smith. Very preemptive there, but an aggressive move in a race where literally everyone has had to be content with their positioning. Chaston not letting them get by. Like to see that. Going back up front, this is a battle that's heating up. The 7 and the 97. Ed Morris and Dennis Weeks coming down into turns 3 and 4. Guy's not giving up an inch. Ed Morris has that Autism Speaks 97 all the way around him, trying to spool something up for a turn here. And what we saw, you're really going to have to dive it into turn 1. And with tires going away, that could be a huge issue for passing here. I don't think we're going to see a lot of passing this far along and everything. Especially on old tires, but once they start coming in, we already saw Colgan. He's coming in, but he is taking an extended stop, possibly a start and park there for Robert. But there we go. Let's take a look at our leader. Out. 3 seconds now. I wonder if he's worried about the short bit. As we see the pass, Dennis Weeks has passed Ed Morris for second. Now Dennis has a lot of work to do if he wants to catch Alex Brown, trying to get his first win of the season. Take a look at that pass again. Ooh. Ed Morris almost getting that thing in the wall. Luckily was able to save that. Makes an easy pass on the 97. So that's what it seems like you're gonna have to do here. The 51 getting passed by Mike Franklin. Seems like that's what you're gonna have to do, folks. You have to wait for the vehicle in front of you to make a mistake. That's what it's gonna take. House, Chaston Teets, Ray Smith, all these guys trying to battle this thing around. Folks, while they're doing that, we're going to go ahead and send you to a side-by-side. We can thank our great sponsors over there at Maestro's Classic.
Changing the face of the world doesn't happen overnight. It takes a strong group like no other, each containing unique characteristics, ones that inspire change and progress. To be a maestro is to lead, to inspire, and to create, helping shape both communities and industries. Changing the face of the world doesn't happen alone. It happens with strong leaders, ones that defy all odds. The first generation of barber maestros helped create the movement. The second will define it.
All right, coming back, you didn't miss a thing there in side by side. We did have is Kevin Franks passing Justin Linke. Let's take a look at that. Outside wall striking for the 35 of Justin Linke. That is not what he needed. Luckily, everybody who shows up tonight is going to get pretty good points increase due to the low field. We have a couple movers that have moved 2 positions here. Dennis Weeks in second, Mike Cleveland in fourth. The aforementioned Kevin Franks. Everybody else within a position of where they started to the good or the bad. The one that's not having as good of a time here is Matt Greathouse, who is 5th. Started in 2nd. So he's got some work to do. As usually this is a 2-stop series. Of course, no fast repairs here in the ARCA series. You guys are pros. Know what they're doing. As Jason Teets working on Matt Greathouse, just takes so long to affect the pass here. It seems like you really have to have everything set up correctly for the pass or in the right direction. But here he's just waiting as Matt Greathouse gets a little bit of loose coming off of 4 to the checkered. Chasen has a huge run, but nothing doing here in turns 1 and 2 is this arcing big long radius turn, but he's setting himself up to dive it into 3 and 4 if Greathouse was to get wide again. Let's take a look, but he's also got to watch out for the defending to defend against Ray Smith, who's having himself a good run. There he goes, going to make it. Not quite going to make it to the inside. Oh, it's so close. That's got to frustrate the drivers as Chasen just knows he's there. He knows what he needs to do. There's a little battle going on up here. What happened with Ed? Ed Morris had a huge... Oh! The 97, Dennis Weeks gets in the wall, comes down, has to side draft. That's what happened. Put a Walbing in there. He's going to get his position back, but now Ed Morris is on him, going back up to Chasen Teets and Matt Greathouse. It'll be a shame not to catch this battle as Chasen's just really working on Matt there. Nothing doing so far. Every time he gets just close enough, unable to complete that pass. That has got to be frustrating for the drivers. Of course, talk about the attacker, the defender, Matt Greathouse doing a great job just running his race. He's not really aggressively blocking. He's taking a line and staying there. And then just getting massive runs into the straightaways. Which, I mean, very odd straightaways here. Different radiuses for these turns, so you got to handle them a little differently, even different banking. Just really able to control that car, get it on the gas a little bit better than everybody else. You see a 3-car. The 3-car torque work there as the rear end kind of slides out coming out of 4. And this whole time that Chasen's trying to make a move on Matt, which Matt just keeps getting these phenomenal runs on the outside. Ray Smith is watching every second of it. Ray Smith in the 16 machine says, hey, let's go. You guys keep battling it out. Keep getting squirrely. Keep using up your stuff. I'm coming for you. As we're about at a second to a second and a half fall off on tires, you got to think that's going to play into effect here. on who decides to short pit. That could be the difference to getting a couple positions and not. Because I'm sure they're probably waiting till lap 45 or 50. That way they can know they can turn this into a two-stopper. But got to think it's a possibility here if you can make up a second or so. Cut up to Dennis Weeks. Up to Dennis Weeks and Ed Morris. Dennis taking a little bit higher than he'd like to. Ed Morris going to try and take advantage on the bottom. They are banging. Dennis Weeks goes into the wall, but he's in that spot where he can get a huge run. They're still side by side, folks. Dennis Weeks and Ed Morris, before they've even pitted, before the first window, they are side by side banging for second. Alex Brown's loving it. He's got about a 7-second gap on these guys. Finally, Ed Morris is going to back out of it. He doesn't want none of the problems. Over here, we got 3 cars under a blanket. Chasten Teat, Matt Grayhouse, Ray Smith, and now guess what? Jason Brewer wants a piece. Jason Brewer in that 34 car fell back initially, had a little bit of an issue. Now he's going to come in. Oh, Mike Franklin coming in. Franklin going to take the initiative and decide to come in on his own there, but Jason Brewer going to try and work on Ray Smith. These 4 cars, folks, they want it. They want it bad. There's another battle coming up here. Dennis Weeks trying to work to the outside. Or Ed Morris, I'm sorry, working to the outside. Man, if these guys are battling and I'm the leader, I think it's a good time to check out, as Ed Morris is going to take his second position back on that high side, but he's got to be careful if he gets up into those marbles. There he goes. Ooh, that car was tight going in the wall. He's losing a ton of time. Take a look at that one more time. I don't know. I can only guess Ed Morris just got super tight. Center in a little too deep, and that's definitely going to get you. You cannot slow down fast enough when there's no banking there in these ARCA cars. Those brakes are not fantastic. We go back live here. A couple takers for pit road. Ray Smith, Jason Brewer in the 34 car, Matt Greathouse coming off pit road. Mike Franklin, another one of those that decided to come in, going to be putting down some blazing fast lap times. Because it seems like you're only going to go 1 lap down. As the 14 of Ed Morris Sr. goes a lap down. Ed Sr. Far up to 7. So Mike Franklin, he's going to be the one to watch. When you see, going to put up these last lap times. When you see those times, once that repopulates, look at that. He went 34.8 seconds. 3 seconds faster than everybody. I'm sorry, a second and a half faster than everybody else on the track. So keep an eye on that short pit. Mike Franklin, Matt Greathouse, Ray Smith, those guys that decided to come in. A second and a half at a 30-second track. It is huge, folks. Trust me on that. As if you are, guys, just join us. We appreciate the heck out of you, as always. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And go check out our friends over at Maestro's Classic, your beard products, and men's hair care and all that good stuff. If you like to do your hair and look good, check out Maestro's. Extreme Scoring, another one of the folks we appreciate here at this ARCA series. As there we go, your leader, Alex Brown. He's got an 8.5 second gap. He might as well come down pit road. Doesn't want to lose that to any of these guys that just came in. So he's definitely got the cushion to come in basically whenever he wants to, but he's going to go ahead and split this thing up into thirds. Dennis Weeks now going to be your effective race leader once he passes out Brown on pit road. There he goes. A hard-fought battle as Ed Morris is also going to decide to take the pit side. Now it's Dennis Weeks, Chasen Teets, Evan Franks, Justin Linke, all the ones who haven't passed. But what I want to see, I want to keep an eye on Mike Franklin. Because Alex Brown's going to be coming out of pit road here. It is a long, long, long pit road, but just Mike Franklin's pretty back. Pretty back there. So Alex is going to come out good, but Ed Morris is going to get passed by Mike Franklin. Take a look at that. Now Ed Morris, who was running third because of the short pit, is going to come out behind Mike Franklin. Okay, so Dennis Weeks, Chasen Teets, Kevin Franks, everybody deciding to come down pit road. The only holdout, Ed Morris Sr. and Justin Lemke. Everybody else came down pit road. The way it's going to shake out, I believe, is going to be Justin Lemke, Alex Brown, of course, Ed Morris Sr. yet to come in. Dennis Weeks. Oh, I hope Dennis is going to make it out. I don't think he's going to catch it out before Mike Franklin gets him. Mike's going to have a huge run here. Yep, there it is. Dennis Weeks in the 97 machine, falling back to 5th on the pits. Now, he's going to get that time back, folks. Don't fret for them. Especially Ed Morris, one of those who came down real late. They're going to get that time back on the back end of this run. These guys, they are professional. I expect this thing to go green. In case some producer jinxes it. But overall, folks, this is the kind of racing you're going to get here. Clean racing. As you saw earlier, Ed Morris and the 97 of Dennis Weeks. This is part 2 of a battle that has been brewing the entire race. Ed Morris out there trying to get a hold of Dennis Weeks as they have the slower car of Mike Franklin in front of them, who last pitted 6 laps ago. So they're going to have to work through him, or they'll have an opportunity at it. Of course, Alex Brown doesn't care. He's faster than everybody on the track. Consistently. He's got a 9-second gap back to Ed Morris, who has the pit, and a 13-second gap back to Dennis Weeks, Mike Franklin, and Ed Morris. So Dennis and Ed making it through there. Mike Franklin standing in the middle between Ed Morris and his race rival of Dennis Weeks. We'll see what's going on here. That's the drinking game, folks. Every time I say, let's see. If you're not watching it live. There we go. Ed Morris going to go to the bottom of Mike Franklin. Beautifully set up pass on the slower car. Going to come slide up in front of him, give him nowhere to go. Textbook, folks. So everybody has made their pit stop, so this is what it's going to look like. Alex Brown, about a 30-second gap. I'm sorry, 13-second gap. Dennis Weeks back there in second. Ed Morris right on his back, though. And Mike Franklin trying to keep up with the very quick cars of Dennis Weeks and Ed Morris. Matt Greathouse there in 5th. Ray Smith in the 16 machine in 6th. Jason Brewer there in 7th. Chasen Teets running 8th. So just to brag on Chasen a little bit here. Last week had a really good showing, top 10 finish at Vegas. Started 10th, finished 8th. Got 39 points out of it, 0 incidents there. Gave him some bonus points, so shout out to Chasen, always keeping it clean out on the track. So talk about you another one. Alexander Brown. last week at Las Vegas Speedway finished 4th after a hard-fought battle. Started 3rd, ended up finishing 4th after 120 laps. He got 3 laps led there, so he's effectively led every single race, every single lap this race. 58 of 133 so far, by the way. But Alex is out here absolutely putting on a clinic. He's about a third of a track ahead of his closest competitor on older tires. He's going to be looking at Kevin Franks, trying to see what he's going to do. Jason Brewer's found somebody to race with. That's Chasten Teets. Talked about him a little bit. Jason last week finishing in 7th position where he's running right now with 0 incidents at Vegas. Another one of those guys. Of course, talk about Mike Franklin. Mike Franklin has been having a season to forget so far. Just 1 top 5, 3 top 10s, and he's just been involved in a ton of stuff that he had nothing to do with there. Finished last week at Las Vegas due to an incident on lap 60. Just unable to pull that through. Very unfortunate there. But he's having a really good showing today, up 4 positions. Got Matt Greathouse behind him by a bit. Of course, there's this battle. Ed Morris, your winner from last week, Dennis Weeks, battled the whole time last week too. Last week it was Ed Morris, Dennis Weeks, David Elliott. Now it's Alex Brown, Ed Morris, Dennis Weeks. So really trying to get together here. Hope to get out in front of Ed. Get those all-important points. Back at this battle again. That's Chasten Teets. Did that for Jason Brewer, but we've seen the outside with such a huge run. All right, folks, we'll go ahead and go to a quick another segment from our friends over at Maestro's Classic. All right, folks. You heard it there. You want to look that good, head over to Maestro's Classic. Quick Google. Take care of you. We missed a good battle while we were away, but don't worry. I have the advantage of replay. We can check this fight out between Ed Morris and Dennis Weeks. Ed just able to get a little bit lower on entry and able to stick it down there. Dennis just kind of gives it up and try and arc it in there, but he's not going to have it. Ed able to hold that thing down. A lot of things learned as we move on here. We've seen both of these drivers get a little squirrely. Both of them go high. So the drivers are picking this up. The drivers are kind of learning, hey, what do I need to do? Make this a little bit faster. What can I do to make this process easier on what seems to be the right rear, taking a beating coming off of 2. I'll tell you one thing, these drivers, there's no such thing as give up here. Ed Morris and Dennis Weeks could just as easily ride this thing out and wait, but there's no time. They know Alex Brown is gone. Barring something very unforeseen, Alex Brown is out of the picture in first. He's got a 14-second gap, widening by the moment. So Ed Morris and Dennis Weeks know, hey, short field, we're probably not likely to get many cautions. They've already had 2 cars retire. Justin Linke retired, Robert Colgan. Another one, so they know, hey, if we're not going to make a move now, if we're not going to battle as this thing wears out, then when are we going to battle? Got a caution that can help him out. Worst you can do, you're going to get a top 10. These guys both have wins, both having a super good showing so far in the Maestro's Classic season. Running 1-2, in fact. Both with 2 wins, so these guys know they can leave it all on the line. They are locked in already on those wins, if not on points. Might as well go for it all here as Dennis Weeks is going to try and make something happen. Ed Morris getting a little bit lower there. Guarding that line just like he's supposed to, but Dennis Weeks straight on the back bumper of that Primetime Motorsports number 7 machine. As we're seeing just the variation of strategies here. We saw Dennis Weeks do this earlier, where Dennis just takes a little bit of a later apex than Ed. Ed kind of dives it in there, gets low as soon as possible, but Dennis Weeks is racing this track just a little bit differently as we're going to go to our blimp view. Try and show you what I mean here. Let's watch how the 97 starts his turn. Well, of course, the 7 didn't do what he usually did there, but the 97 kind of takes this turn a little bit wider and cuts it in the end on the 97. 97's getting a little wise to it, though. He's going to try that high line out for himself. There we go. See that 97 just narrow up that apex with way more speed than the 7. Closing. Another shout out. I know we're going to get this. We usually always get this from Dennis, but I do want to point out. Oh, as he goes for the pass, that's what I was talking about, folks. Goes for that inside line. Now he's got that Autism Speaks 97 right where he wants it. He's got it here in 3 and 4. It's going to be a drag race to the line unless he can throw that thing in front of him. He does. Give it to Dennis Weeks coming out of turn 4. Now he has the advantage on Ed Morris. textbook play there. The 97 just racing this track a little bit differently than his counterparts, saving some tire, believe it or not. And the way these runs have came and gone, that's going to be huge for him. Driving just a little bit more conservatively. We saw him get passed by Ed Morris early on in this run that started on lap 50. Able to come by. I'm sure that front right is screaming on the Ed Morris machine. Going to get another opportunity to see a good pass from Matt Greathouse working on Mike Franklin. Lot of traction down there, but I didn't think there was that much. Matt Greathouse able to get in front of the 82. 82 has to do a little bit of a checkup. Dangerous move, but the right one to make there. You got to stop that momentum. Otherwise, the longer you're stuck on that bottom line, folks, the longer you're going to be using up that right front. Which, if you want to make this into a one-stop left, you got to take care of your tires. You're going to be slower and slower as our lap times are coming in about a second and a half slower than the best time. But Matt Greathouse besting Mike Franklin there, putting him back to 5th. Good, guys, another shout out. If you are watching, want to be a part of the show, just go ahead and hit us in the comments. If you're not watching live, guys, I don't shout you guys out enough. Appreciate the heck out of you for watching the replay of this race in the future there. A lot of drivers like to come through and watch it, or everybody, a lot of other competitors want to see how everything's going while they're on vacation or whatnot. We appreciate you too, and we do see your comments, and we appreciate them. So holler at us, let us know how you're doing. Like the stream, all that good stuff. Be sure to check out our partners that make this possible. Maestro's Classic. Of course, this is Sim Racing Media, previously Sports Broadcasting Network. We love bringing these races to you. And you can catch us tomorrow night. We're going to be in the Truck Series. It was a banger last week at Dover in the Truck Series. Nicholas Broman in the 95 won that one. Justin Teets up 22 spots now. What a run from him. So, Vrooman getting his first win on the season last week in the trucks. Ed Morris had a fantastic run himself at Dover. So, unfortunate for him. Unfortunate ending for Ed Morris. But good on Nicholas Broman to get up there in the primetime 95 and make that happen. Of course, tomorrow, 23 hours, guys, they're going to be 200 laps at Richmond Motor Speedway. Richmond Raceway there, fixed setup. Again, that's going to be Tuesday, December 14th, tomorrow, folks. Starting at 8 p.m. Central, so you're not going to want to miss that one. That should be an absolute banger, as that battle in the season is very much heating up. Nicholas Broman with some wins over there. James Hoytzer, Ed Morris, all within 10 points. And Brendan Book and Jordan McGraw not too far outside of there. So, if you want some more racing action from the same folks that we got here, go ahead and give them a shot. Tomorrow, one of our best producers, Angel's going to be on that with Tanner now, who's unfortunately unable to make it tonight for me. That's all right. Did some homework, I get it. As Ray Smith makes the pass on Mike Franklin. Go back to the replay, see how that happened. Boy, you can carbon copy all of these passes. There seems to be only one passing zone in this race, and that's coming off the straightaway of 2, getting into 3. So take note, drivers maybe racing here in the future. Take notes that there's not many opportunities to pass, as we're seeing throughout the field here. Nobody really having that great of an option as far as passing is concerned. because these guys are the best in the business with these ARCA cars. Talk about it every race. I'll go ahead and talk about it now. Hey, why not? I got some screen time. Guys, if you're looking for a league to join, if you're new to iRacing or what have you, even if you're an expert trying to get over that plateau that you find, if you've been racing with the A's and you got that car figured out, and you want to come learn how to drive a car, boy, come to the ARCA series in any facet. Find you an ARCA league. Of course, I would highly recommend the Maestro's Classic ARCA broadcasting here at Sim Racing Media. They do a fantastic job of teaching you how to drive these cars. The ARCA cars, a little bit older, chassis not really set up for driver comfort. These cars are meant to be a very good learning experience. That's why they are the D-Class car and iRacing officials. If you've ever been there, you know what I'm talking about. Very horrific racing in the officials. Get you in a good league. Like I said, this one's always recruiting. Check them out. Their website is in the description. Get on for some good racing, but they really teach you how to handle these cars, how to manage your tires, things that don't really come into play in the short stints at NASCAR. But once you get into those longer races, definitely you can take everything you learned in the ARCA car and transfer it over as far as tire management, strategy, and driving a car that is very loose. These cars are notoriously loose. Hard to control. 700 horsepower in these things. Monsters. To practice getting that application, everything down there. But if you want to see some, if you're looking for a driver to follow, check out Alex Brown. This guy catching lap traffic. He's got Jason Brewer in front of him. That's the 8th position machine. Got a 17-second gap back to Dennis Weeks. And I talked about it earlier as well. Dennis Weeks was really managing those tires. Driving this track a little bit differently than everybody else. In that mid lane, kind of working that throttle, that brake. And battling with Ed Morris there for a while. But that battle has cooled off to a great degree. Ed Morris is now 6 seconds ahead. Or behind, I'm sorry, of Dennis Weeks. Lap times are showing it. He's about a 10th slower than Dennis there. Alex and Dennis kind of close. We're going to see if this lap traffic comes into effect. Nobody wants to get lapped here, especially if you're in a heated battle, as Jason Brewer is almost caught up to Chaston. Got a car coming down pit road. I believe that is Mike Franklin going to get the short pit in here, trying to get a little bit more positions. As Alex is going to see how hard it is to pass if he can't clear there. Oh, he does clear just barely. Maybe a little bit of help there by Jason Brewer letting the leader by. Probably could have held that battle for a little bit longer, but he chooses not to. Let the leader go run his race. We appreciate that. Closest two cars battling for position, however, are going to be Matt Greathouse and Ray Smith. Ray in that 5 machine up 3 positions already, your highest mover of the race with those 3 positions. He's past Chaston Teach, Jason Brewer, and Mike Franklin. Of course, Mike Franklin is on his way on fresh tires, so he's about to give our leader a little bit of trouble here if he can get past Jason Brewer. And running that extreme low line, that's going to help his times out tremendously. Mike Franklin on to the next one. Get his laps back here, run his race as fast as possible. He's got to get by the leader here at the 67, though, for it to count for anything. Currently 2 laps down, but he should get a couple of those back on these guys that are Gonna come in a little bit later as we are in the pit window. They know they can make it. They went 50 laps earlier. Leader's gonna roll over. He doesn't want those problems. 82 now working on Chasten Teets in the 8 machine. Hopefully Chasten gets the memo that he is on fresh tires. He's gonna be coming up quicker than he can probably see him in the rearview mirror. There he goes. Leader gonna follow the low line to try and get by the number 8. Able to do so. Ed Morris coming down pit road. Ed Morris and Ed Morris Sr. both coming down pit road right now. Ed Morris Sr. just now catching his box. Ed Morris going to take the long way since he has a little bit farther to go. It's going to put him a lap down for now. Possibly 2, as this is a notoriously long pit road. It takes about 46 seconds if you're doing everything right. But Ed Morris trying to do what he can to get the gap down between himself and Dennis Weeks. When he came in, he was 6 seconds to the bad on Dennis Weeks. So Dennis has got to think that he's coming in pretty shortly thereafter, as he has been taking care of his tires, but that's not going to matter for much once Ed Morris comes out. Oh, so he's going to be a lap down. Could get that back pretty quick there. As Ray Smith, now 4 positions with all the pits. He's going to come down pit road. He doesn't want to give up any more of those to the short pit, because he's trying to get a podium himself on Matt Greathouse. He's now 2 seconds ahead, but that will shorten considerably once this pit strategy plays out. So folks, let's go ahead and get it, turn it up, and let's watch Alex Brown run around the track, see what he's doing a little bit differently than everybody else. There you go, folks. You got to see it. Yeah, oh, 6-7 gets a little bit of damage from this. Ooh, man, that was... We're going to take a look back at that. Ooh, that's out. There we go, 82. See what happened there. We're going to try at least. Folks, I do apologize. Kind of breaking the fourth wall here, but I want to see that again. He closes. We saw that Alex Brown was having some trouble. Guys, I'm not sure what's going on here. We'll fix that. There was a lap earlier than that. There we go. Here we go, folks. Take a look at Alex Brown. Did not know that the 91 was there. 16, I'm sorry, was there. And that just looked like a little bit of arrow unsettled the 67. Put the 67 in the wall ever so slightly. No fault, I think, there either party. But, boy, you got to watch out for that. Yeah, Alex Brown is rethinking his decision. He's going to come down pit road. Got a 17-second gap back to second. No reason not to. 30 laps to go. Go ahead and bring that thing in. Make sure everything's on there good and straight. It's going to give your race lead over to Dennis Weeks, who has stayed out so far, 33 seconds above Kevin Franks. But the next driver that has pitted is Ed Morris. Folks, why is that important? Well, that's important because Ed Morris was 7 seconds back when he came in on Dennis Weeks, but now, because of the way he has been driving this thing, Ed Morris is right there by Dennis Weeks. So Dennis is going to get his lap lead. All important there for him to get that. Alex didn't give anybody the opportunity to do that earlier, so Dennis possibly trying to stay out here, get some bonus points for a lap lead. But after it shakes out, I think Ed Morris is going to be in there. He's on fresher tires now, having an absolute tear there. Keep an eye on these lap times as we're going to put those up for you. As Ed Morris is running a 35.29, Dennis Weeks at 36.56. So every lap that he's staying out, he's losing a second on Ed Morris. And I think the crew chief has relayed that message. He's got his lap led. Go ahead and bring that thing down for his service. Get some fresh Goodyears on it and go out and give Ed Morris a run for his money. Now, why am I talking about Ed Morris? Because Alex Brown's gone. Alex Brown is 10 seconds now to the good. Last pit at lap 101. He's got some slower traffic to work by, depending on how cleanly he can do this. He knows he's got a big gap back there to Ed. There he goes. He's going to pass Dennis in pits as Dennis is coming out soon. Take your time on these, Alex Brown. You don't really have to push them too hard, especially with them coming down pit road. I think everybody else has been through on their two-stopper. Yes, they have. It's getting word in. These guys ahead of them are not going to be pushovers. That's Chasten Teets and Jason Brewer, and these guys are racing for position in 7th. Not really a lot of room to give the leader, but you're also trying to battle it out. Only on about 4 lap older tires, these two. Again, that's Jason Brewer and Kevin Franks. But Alex Brown wants by him something fierce. Go ahead and put them a lap down, but these guys got to race their race, folks. Got to get out there and do everything they can. Get these all-important points. Of course, Brewer and Teets, only 14 points separate them in the standings, so every point matters here, especially given that a lot of the top 10 in the ARCA series aren't here right now to contest. David Elliott not able to make it. Bill Hull, Sebastian Taylor unable to make it. Justin Linke bowed out early, but going to get a lot of points regardless. There you go. Jason trying to take it to the inside of Chasten Teets. Nothing doing for now, but making that car wide as the leader. Alex Brown is trying to make him. Ed Morris has effectively passed Dennis Weeks. That's another battle we're keeping an eye on. There we go. Leader trying to get to the inside. He's not going to be able to hold it there. We'll see. Jason Brewer playing the nice guy. He's going to let him by. We'll see how much trouble Chasten Teets gets after our update with Matt Greathouse. In the 82 of Mike Franklin. These guys battling for 4th. Again, not many opportunities to pass him. Not much shakeup. 1 and 2 hasn't changed. Alex Brown, Ed Morris. It's Alex now working to the inside of the lap car, passing Teats. Because if you're going to make a pass, you've got to do it coming out of these straightaways. Alex really hasn't had to pass anybody this whole race. This is his first experience racing a car on a similar tire level, and he's still got 6 lap pressure tires. And everybody has let him by, so let's see what Chasson decides to do here. There you go. Chasson lets him by, but that opens the door for Jason Brewer to get up there. Whoa, Jason Brewer throwing it in there sideways, trying to get to the inside of the 8 car. He does, but he's not going to be able to keep it. Lost too much momentum on entry. He's going to have to line it up and try again here in a couple. As you really got to try a little bit differently, and the more he tries that, the less effective it's going to be. That right front is heating up. He's going to have to give it a break. Take a look at our number 2, Ed Morris. He's got 5 seconds between himself and Dennis Weeks. As if Ed Morris gets second place at this race here, folks, it'll be on pit strategy, but Dennis Weeks is closing fast, driving the tires off of that car with about a second faster lap times because he did wait so long to pit. He's got 11 lap newer tires on that machine. Keep an eye on that as we move forward. Oh! Jason Brewer to the inside wall. Chasson Teats to the outside. Chasson able to keep his momentum up a little bit. That's going to widen out that battle. Jason just sent it a little too hard. He is sideways through every turn, trying to do everything he can to catch Chasson Teats, and he may have overshot his goal there. He's going to have to settle down if he wants to have a chance at it, which is hard to do when you've been chasing a car for as long as you have, but man, that was almost dangerous. He's still sideways in that thing. Ray Smith in 6th. He's out on an island, but up 2 positions in that 16 machine. Ray Smith, a relative newcomer. Haven't called that name too much. I believe this is his first race with us here. Oh no, I stand corrected. He has raced once before. Got a top 10 out of it. I'll have to do some looking and see where he's gonna turn into, but out here getting some much important points, up to 6th position. Good showing by Ray Smith in his second run here with us. So guys, the playoffs are in our minds. Always got to be thinking about those playoffs, folks. As here in the ARCA series, they do a 12 rounds of playoffs. 12 drivers are going to make it into the playoff round 1, which begins Monday, January 24th next year over there in 2022. If it started right now, we'd have Ed Morris, Dennis Weeks, Robert Colgan, Raul Alves locked in on wins alone. Then, of course, we'd have Alex Brown there in 5th with a huge point showing. Matt Greathouse, Chaston Teats there would be in. Jason Brewer, another one. Dave Elliott, who's not here today. Bill Hull, another one. Sebastian Taylor, another one. And Justin Linke round out your 10 right now. So Kevin Franks, who is currently in 9th, trying to get his way in on point. Rob Rogers, trying to get in. Mike Franklin, Another one that's happy he showed up today. That's going to give him a good advantage on points with 14 to go here. So these guys trying to work their way into a playoff spot. Alex Brown hoping to lock himself in. 16 seconds to the good. And as we're talking, guys, this battle is getting closer. Dennis Weeks driving the wheels off that thing, trying to get to the back of Ed Morris. Go on board and turn it up with him. While we are on board here with Dennis Weeks. Oh, Dennis Weeks getting to the back of the 7. What a battle we have here, folks. Dennis Weeks trying to make it to the inside of Ed Morris. That pit strategy coming into play just when it needs to. 9 laps to go. Dennis Weeks able to get to the inside. Ed Morris pushes a little bit high. Pushes Ed Morris high. They're side by side coming down the backstretch. 8 laps to go for our leader. Dennis Weeks able to throw it in there on Ed Morris. We'll see if he can clear him coming out of 4 here. Throw the block up there. He is going to make it. Tire strategy. That is what is going to give Dennis Weeks this second place finish if it was to finish right now. As he is able to keep those tires with that. You saw the braking point in the cockpit. You saw how different Dennis Weeks is driving the car than Ed Morris. We'll just go on board with Ed here. As one thing I'm seeing is everyone else is not shifting. I believe Alex Brown is shifting through these turns. But Ed tries to take the perfect line, which is down there at the very bottom of the track. But he does not get as much momentum as Dennis does. And as well, he's putting a lot of stress on that right front. You can hear it there. I'm going to go to Alex Brown, see if he's still shifting. He is. Alex Brown's getting down to 3rd, getting a huge jump out of it. I think That's the difference, folks. That's the key to being 20 seconds ahead of your competitor. Is Alex Brown working that shifter in 1 and 2? Absolutely throwing it in there. Take a look at this. Because Alex Brown absolutely sends it. And is able to get that good jump in second gear. And just as quickly as it happened, it's over, folks. Dennis Week now has 1.5 seconds to the good on Ed Morris. Matt Greathouse 10 seconds back from him. Ray Smith in 5th position. Mike Franklin trying to chase him down in 6th. Jason Brewer 7th. Justin Teets 8th. Kevin Frank rounding out your cars that are still on the field. Ed Morris Sr., Justin Linke, Robert Colgan deciding to take the points and run for 10th and 12th place. Good points here to be had, folks. Show up to your races as Jason Brewer and Chasten Teets now closest battle on the field. Coming for 8th position. The biggest mover of the race is Ray Smith. He's up 3 positions in 5th. Again, having a good showing here. If you're gonna come to 2 races, make it count. That's what Ray's doing. Trying to break his way in here to a top 15 possibly on points. We're gonna see a huge shakeup. Check in with us. I think we're going to be racing next week. Let me double check that on for you guys. We're coming up on another little break here. Oh, we're coming up on a long break, folks. January 3rd, Monday, we're going to be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the 2.5 mile circuit. It'll be an 80 lap race there. Same time, same place. 7:55. We're going to go live. Central time, that is, folks. Got a long break here coming up, so do what you got to do, Alex Brown. Get in here, get that 20-second lead on the final lap. White flag is out. Prepped up on me there, folks. As Alex Brown doing the victory lap a little bit early. No other positions on the track are in danger of getting lost. As Alex gonna bring it around one final time out of turn 4. Barry waving the checkered flag for him. Once he gets there, taking the low line. You love to see it. Alex Brown getting his first win of the season. Let's go, Alex Brown. Chasten Teets, this is our only position in jeopardy. It's not going to matter there. Chasten falling behind Jason Brewer. So there we go, folks. Green flag. Run all the way through, showing us how it's done. Alex Brown leading every race, every lap that he was able to. Dennis got in there and stole a couple from him on a late pit strategy that worked out to pass Ed Morris for 3rd. Matt Greathouse and Ray Smith going to round out your top 10, or top 5, I'm sorry. Go ahead and show you guys the results as Alex Brown here is going to burn it down. Well deserved. Repping the Maple Leaf there, that Canadian 67. Love to see it. It's hard fought all season, trying to get a win. Finally able to come through and grab one, putting a little bit extra flourish on it. There we go, folks. Let's get these guys in here. while we do that, you guys around just one booth. Get All right, folks, let's go ahead and get through to the interviews. First up, we got Ed Morris. Ed, do you copy?
Yeah, I got you.
So, Ed, again, man, what a finish coming off the win at Las Vegas. How does it feel to come out here and have a good showing?
I'm glad that one's over.
A lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. So tell us about it. Tell us about the run, pit strategy, all that good stuff.
Well, I knew with the low car count that there's a good chance that this thing was going to go green the whole way. So once again, it's about staying smooth and not making any mistakes. And we didn't really make too many mistakes except for a couple. We worked so hard that first run trying to figure out what was the best way to run this track. Trying to shift and then trying to run the entry a little differently. It was just a struggle the whole race. The car handling was really bad with this setup. So I mean, everybody here had a handful. So I'm happy to come out with a podium with this thing, but I'm glad that one's over.
Well, definitely, and to your point, Alex Brown, he was shifting, throwing it into first harder, not seeing anybody. Dennis Weeks, a very different strategy. He arced it in a little bit better, and that seemed to be what did it. So of the top three, not a single person drove the track the same way. So to make it to third place ahead of Matt Greathouse and the rest, it's got to feel good, man. I know it's into the race, third place finish, but it's got to feel good to get that machine in the podium.
Oh, of course, man. Yeah, you're never going to complain about a podium finish. I wish the car was better, but take what we can get.
Definitely. So, Ed, who you want to shout out? Who you want to thank for the podium?
Thanks to you guys for putting on this broadcast, all the admins for being here, and all the hard work that those guys do. Our series sponsors, we have Maestro's Classic as our primary sponsor. I appreciate those guys and everything that they do. And if you guys are looking for some beard care and some good gel and stuff, go see those guys. And RB Custom Rigs. If you guys are looking for a computer, I know times are tough right now with the way the supply chains and everything are working, but he's got some stuff over there, so go check him out.
Definitely. Well, man, again, congratulations on the third place finish, and hopefully we'll talk to you not next week, but January 3rd after the Christmas break. So have a good one there, and hopefully we'll talk to you then.
Appreciate it, man.
All right, that was Ed Morris. Next, we're going to bring in somebody that I talk to a whole bunch, just about every week, Dennis Weeks, in that 97 Autism Awareness Chevrolet. How's it going, buddy?
Not too bad. I almost didn't race tonight, man. I got really bad back spasms, so I'm like, thank God this race is over. I'm ready to go to bed.
So, well, I'll keep it short, but maybe that played into how you were able to be so smooth out there, racing the track a little bit differently than everybody else, able to save some tire. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Shifting in 1 and 2 is like the play, especially for the long run, and I'm very uncomfortable doing it. So I had to almost diamond the corners to get my speed back. And I think I fought with Ed for probably 80 laps there, I felt like, and was able to come out on top. But Alex was in a whole nother zip code tonight, so second place was a win for me.
Definitely. Well, I know I ask you every week, but tell us who's on the car and specifically who's riding above your hill.
Yeah, obviously, Autism Speaks on the car. Support them a lot. My son, who has autism, he's on my door. His ribbons are all over it. But also thanks to Maestros for sponsoring, you guys for broadcasting. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Ed and GT for putting this thing back together, and of course Outlaw Racing and GTM.
Definitely. Well, Dennis, you got a little bit of a break to take care of that back. I've been there. I know. I know it blows. I can't imagine racing on it. So again, congratulations, and we'll see you January 3rd at Indy.
Absolutely, man. Give Alex a hard time.
You bet. All right, that was Dennis Weeks. Next, we got our race winner. Finally, Alex Brown able to bring that thing to victory lane. I'd ask you about the strategy. I'd ask you about the skill, but the 18-second gap kind of speaks for itself.
Uh, I, I'm glad you said finally. I'm glad other people were trying to say, you know what, this guy can get a win. He should get a win. I don't know.
Yeah, you definitely didn't earn it with the about lap ahead you had on everybody else.
That was I love this track. You know what? The shifting in 1 and 2 is the key to the whole thing. You got to get it low enough in the revs when you're going through 1 and 2 to be able to then kick it into third gear, but then you got to blip the throttle, and then you're shifting almost when you're literally right off. There's like these tire marks right off at turn 2, and you got to shift then. And I'm not shifting through 3 and 4. You know, there's give away some of my secrets or whatever, but I'm just so happy to finally close one of these out. I thank you, thank you for to everybody that just didn't bring out a Latifi caution there at the end there to make it like a shootout at the end. But thank God.
Well, I don't think anybody had anything for you, and that's what we heard. You know, I was talking back when I was talking to Ed. All the top 3 drivers race this track a little bit differently, and I'm telling you, the most scary, the scariest, I suppose is the correct English, was watching you from the cockpit throwing that thing into one harder than anybody else. It definitely paid off for you, sir.
Did it look like that? Like
Oh, boy.
one of the keys. Listen,
I was like, let's check out Alex. I bet he's driving this thing smooth and just almost sideways in one every time. It seemed like it was wild. It was a clinic.
Oh, I'm glad you did that. You know, that's what I love about the broadcast you guys do. Here you are, you have a long green flag run, no cautions. Everyone did a great job. You know, no spins, anything on a setup that was not easy to drive, and you're doing all this analysis and listen. I mean, listen, part of that. I mean, you're going into that turn and you got sometimes you're listening to the rev limiter early in the run, you're like "Brrr," and then you know when to brake, but then later in the run you're not hitting the rev limiter, and you got to back it up just a little smidge. And I'm glad it was entertaining, at least from that point of view.
All right, it definitely was, sir. So tell us who brought you there and who you want to shout out for the victory here tonight.
First off, got to thank the sponsor, D-Dub Button Boxes, good Canadian company there. Use GTM10 as a code. You get yourself 10% off on a button box. I know myself, DJ Weeks or Dennis Weeks there. He just got himself one recently. It's really great. It's got a nice big like knob on it that you can do like your brake bias and stuff on it. Looks really great. I think Kyle Knapp Sr., who runs in the Truck Series, also has a similar one like that. But check out D-Dub Button Boxes. You can look them up on Facebook. I got to get their website. They just came out with a website, so you can buy them online rather than contacting Dennis Warrens, who runs the company. But DEEDUB Button Boxes. Look them up on Facebook. GT Motorsports, they've been integral to my development over the last couple of years, really giving me tips on driving. William Hartman is the guy that actually taught me how to drive this track and like to make sure that you're getting through 1 and 2 there and how to shift properly. Like you're going to slam it into third, but he's like, no, you're doing it all wrong, because then you can skip the tires and then you're going up the track. And like, he was integral to me learning this track. All the other guys, DJ, I mean, 1-2 for GT Motorsports tonight with the 67 and the 97. So really happy, man. It's such a close battle between Ed and Dennis and myself, and I got to thank you guys. We got to thank Maestro's Classic. They're a sponsor on Alan Hilton's car, who runs the truck series and also the sponsors this league. Thank you to Ed Morris for running this league. Thank you to the admins, Brendan L. Book, as we like to call him, the officer. Or Officer Book. I could go on and on and on. I'm just blabbing on. I'm happy I finally got a darn oval win.
Well, with bonus points and everything else, it's shaping up to be quite a battle between yourself, Weeks, and Morris. But on that button box, you know what? Give me that website, and then be sure and show up like you have for every other race on January 3rd at Indy, and I'm sure I'll hear from you, and you can tell me then.
I love that track too. I've given away 2 wins there, so maybe I can be on a streak here.
Well, the key is to not give them away.
Thanks. I think I finally learned that.
Guys, that life lesson's brought to you by James Riles, who's tired after calling the race. Nah, just playing with you, Alex. I'm sure I will talk to you, though. I've talked to you a ton this season already, and I'm looking forward to it on January 3rd, sir.
All right, we'll see you then. Have a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, tip top Tet, a happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, everything. Like, just have a great New Year, and we'll see you then.
I think you hit them all, Alex, and I appreciate you, and we'll see you later.
Thanks. Good night.
So there we go, folks. That is going to end it for us here at Sim Racing Media. We appreciate the heck out of you for joining us. If you watched this far, and run through our results one final time here for the overall. Got Alex Brown, of course, finishing first. Dennis Weeks there in second. Ed Morris in third. Matt Greathouse in fourth. Ray Smith back there in fifth. The scored a lap down. That's how quick Alex Brown was. Sixth place can be Mike Franklin, Jason Brewer in seventh. Chasten Teets in eighth. Ninth can be Kevin Franks. Rounding out your top 10. Ed Morris Sr. finishing 3 laps down. Justin Linke putting it on the hauler a little bit earlier there in 11th, and Robert Colgan doing a little bit of a start and park there at 27 laps in 12th place. And that's going to round it out, folks. As always, we appreciate the heck out of you guys sticking with us here at Esports Broadcasting Network and Sim Racing Media. For us, this is James Riles, and have a happy holidays, folks. We'll see you January